Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem, breaking down tonight last night's 10-game NBA slate. Now, it was a really fun slate of basketball games. We saw some really great basketball, and just off first glance, I had doing the show kind of late because I went back and watched the rest of the condensed games that I didn't get a chance to watch because I watched every NBA game. There was a period during last year's NBA where everything that happened tonight would have happened. Like, tonight reminded me so much of a period last year when I was in the zone and I felt like I knew exactly what was going to happen game in and game out. This is when Paul George was playing well, Jimmy Butler was playing well. We saw really great games from, it was Nikola Jokic was coming out, and we saw, Ricky Rubio got into, it was eerily similar to a point last year that we saw. Maybe that's a good omen, I don't know, but it was kind of freaky and weird, and for whatever it's worth, that did happen on tonight's slate. Now, it kind of seemed like everybody did pretty good tonight. I mean, of course, we had some snowflakes, some guys did bust, but I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but this is a shout out to the sweatshop on this one because I go back after I watched the condensed games to catch up on stuff that I didn't catch, the little subtle nuances of games. I do skim back over last night's podcast just so I know if I have to come on the show and eat some crow or if I have to do a little gloating. But if you caught last night's podcast and you were able to apply that to your lineup building, to your roster building, we had some gems in there, some nuggets. And I think the reason for that is what you're getting is unfiltered, man. Like my 2-year-old can walk up right now and give me a kiss on the cheek. It's unfiltered, it's unedited. So I don't look at anything. I don't look at the DraftKings or the FanDuel pricing and none of that. I just go over my paperwork, get my core 4 stuff together, issue out my awards, do a very small amount of research on what already happened for the recap. And then we together, you and I, we dive straight into the player pricing, point totals, and everything that's going to make the next slate our best slate. And so when I go over it for the first time, as you're going to see later on in the video, my honest reaction is my first reaction is always my honest. It's honest. My first reaction is just what I see when I look at it. When I see a player and I'm like, oh man, I like him. Oh, I don't like him. Oh, I hate him. I'm not playing him. He's dead to me. That's honest, real shit. And if this is the issue with all of the research that I'm doing and the building of the DFS sweatshop. See, I'm trying to get out of this shit. You hear that? That's the train. We live on the wrong side of the tracks. I'm trying to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Me and my family. So that's another issue. But so what I'm doing is I'm giving you the pure, unadulterated, uncut, unfiltered, my first look at the next night's slate. And with that comes the honesty that it takes to watch this and really apply it to your roster building. I'm talking about really apply it to your roster building. And I should do that myself. The thing is, I'm so busy with work. I got 2 jobs. I cut hair during the day, and I'm a waiter at night. And I got 5 kids, and I got a beautiful wife that I like to be with and be around. And tonight we went out and had some Italian. It was good. But I got so much shit going on that it's really hard for me to just sit down and go over all of my notes, everything when it comes to me building rosters. I usually do it at some point during the day while I'm talking to doing something or whatever. And a lot of times the rosters don't accurately depict what I really like. Don't get me wrong. I play the guys I'm talking about, but I mean the way I put them together. My player pool is my player pool, but it's the actual connecting of the players in that pool that I used to be really good at before I started this show and I had time, But now with all of the research and everything that's going on, it's really hard for me to find a time to build rosters the way that I did before we started the show. So that's why you see, I don't play as much as I did just because I know that, man, I could have spent a little more time. I could have gotten into this, could have gotten into that. And I say that because there's so many cats that was in the player pool that went the fuck off And when I went back and looked at it, they all connected together in lineups that would have been fire. And I really hope that a lot of you guys took took hold to those things. If you are in the VIP, if you are a paid subscriber, thank you. I really hope that you looked at those things, those items that we put together for you, and you build your lineups accordingly. Okay? Because DFS, especially NBA, is not just about picking players. It's about slate recognition. It's about knowing which contest to enter your teams in. It's about first understanding what type of player are you. Are you the kind of guy that likes to take risks? Well, then you are a tournament player. Are you a more safe guy? You want to go with the one of the biggest things that you look at when you look at a player is his last 5 games. What has he done for you lately? Then you're a safe player. You're a cash game player. You've got to identify these things if you want to be a profitable daily fantasy sports player. So something that we do, we're gonna go with the regular formatting of the show. This is where we jump into my core four review. Now we all know that I'm trying to get 5.5, 6x, 7x value out of cats. We already know all of that. So looking at this core four, I wanted to be able to roster on an even keel, kind of along the middle line, so that I could pay up in certain spots that I did like. I liked John Wall tonight. I liked Kevin Durant. We talked about him. There's a few guys that I knew I was going to have to pay up for. I like Jimmy Butler. There was a few guys. And that's why when I built this core four, I did it in such a way that I could, or you could, if you wanted to use it yourself, you could pay up in other spots. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, what we wanted from this core four was at the bare minimum, we wanted 148.5 DraftKings points. That would be 5.5x value when it comes to the DraftKings scoring. But we really want 162 points, which is a solid 6x. That's what we wanted. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First on the list is going to be Brook Lopez. This is probably my favorite play from the core four. I really liked him all day long. When I found out that he was going to be matched up against his brother, who he always destroys, I knew that Brook Lopez was going to be a very solid play. And at 6.8K, a lot of people did not feel the way I did. That's why he only was rostered 8%. He was 8% owned. Goes out and scores 43.75 DraftKings points. A really nice game we saw from Brook Lopez. The next play is going to be somebody who I had to put in because the Rudy Gay news broke. Now, I was fluctuating between him and Rudy Gay, actually, for that price point, because Rudy Gay was, I think, 6.3 and this player was 6.2. So I keep a pivot for every guy in the core four just in case something like this happens, and that's why there's so much that goes into it. So as soon as the news broke that Rudy Gay was going to be out, I knew automatically this was a guy. He was going to be in the core four. He was at a very similar price point, kind of a similar play, same position. Actually gave us a little bit of position flexibility because he can also play center as well as power forward. And that was Serge Ibaka at 6.2K. Dude went out, was only 12% owned, scored 39.75 DraftKings points. Now this motherfucker led all DraftKings scorers and points at one point in the night. Had a 24-point first quarter, a 33-point first half, and ended up scoring 39.75 DraftKings points. It felt like I was with the most beautiful woman in the world, and she let me kiss her, let me hug her, and I thought I was going to get some of that coochie, and then she was like, "Oh, I gotta go home. Can you take me home?" Thanks, Serge Ibaka, for giving me blue balls. Now, the next play was the chalk. This was just a play that we all were on. He was 40% owned, 7.6K. You had him everywhere. Everybody had him, so don't get mad at me. We all did it. The reason why he was in the core four is because I knew the ownership was going to be so heavy on him that if I didn't have him and he went off, it was definitely going to, destroy some lineups. But what happened was that the actual adverse thing happened. If you didn't have him and you pivoted to somebody else, like maybe DeMar DeRozan, who we talked about when I said you could fire up Lowry and DeRozan on last night's show, then you really got to the money. Or if you had Batum, which was a pivot from him, then you got more than you would have got from CJ McCollum at 7.6K, 40% on ownership across all DFS formats. He had 35 DraftKings points. Not a horrible showing. Didn't snowflake out for you, but he did not really. He did the 40% that got him were not the guys that really hit tonight. Some of us did like I did, finished just over breaking even. That's cool. We're going to take that into tomorrow's 6-game slate, and we're going to ball with that. The last play was somebody who was just a gut play. I just had a feeling that this was his turn to have a good game because we saw so many good games from other guys on his team. I just felt like it was his turn to break out. And for that reason, I'm going to give him a look the very next time he's out because it happens like that. If you notice, I was on Rajon Rondo the other day. Oh, man, I like Rajon Rondo. He's in the core 4. He's in a great spot. He's going to blow up. And he shit himself. But then tonight, he balls. The other couple nights, Ricky Rubio, man, I was on him. Yo, Ricky Rubio, I think this is it. This is his night. It's going down for Ricky Rubio. And he shit himself. And then tonight, 45 DraftKings points. So if you have a feeling about a guy, you've got a feeling for a reason. You just got to stick with it and wait for it to pay off. This last guy is going to be Zach Lavine at 6.4K. Very modest priced on him. 11% ownership. He goes out and scores 28.75 DraftKings points. And you was very close to being a snowflake. If it wasn't for that last couple steals and that layup and that rebound, you was going to be a motherfucking snowflake. Watch yourself, Zach. You ain't no snowflake, but you owe me money. You officially owe me money. Now, this core 4 finished at 147.25 DraftKings points. I was a rebound away from the target of the 5.5 to 6x. That's okay. We've got another core 4 cooking up for you tomorrow. Let's go ahead and jump into the feature 4 players of the night. These are the 4 most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop, on Twitter, and in the Facebook VIP. We are going to start with the Who Dat scoring all them points over there player tonight. This goes to a guy who at 4K was only 4% owned in most GPPs, went out and 10x'd on him, plus, had 45.5 DraftKings points, 11x plus. Joakim Noah, excellent play tonight if you had the stones to get him in your rosters. Now, what really cultivated this game from Joakim Noah was Carmelo Anthony being ejected early on in the game at Atlanta against the Hawks. And you know what? If I could have gotten off work in time, my wife and I, we'd have went to Atlanta to go see my Knicks play. I used to go to Charlotte to see him play, and they was in Atlanta, so I wanted to go see him play. But I'm glad I didn't because the motherfuckers lost in overtime. So that's why you tonight, Joakim Noah, are the Who Dat scoring on points over there player tonight. The next player we're going to talk about is the How Did I Miss That play tonight. This is a guy who I like. I like this guy. I think this is like a really like a breakout year for him, and everybody loves the other guy on his team, and I don't like him much. I just don't like the other guy on the team. I just don't like his game much. So most times when I do roster guys from this team, period, he's the one that I take. And if I ever roster the other guy that I don't like that much because he's in a good spot, I automatically go with the other dude, even if he's in a bad matchup, because the main guy only plays well. Well, every time the main guy plays well, so does he. And this is Jabari Parker. How the fuck did I miss that play tonight? 6.9K, 12% ownership, goes out and scores 56.25 DraftKings points. Finished in the top 5 of all DraftKings scores. Very great game we saw from Jabari Parker. If you had him in your lineup, I know he helped you get close to the cash line or even took you over. The next play is going to be the heat check player of the night. This is a dude that we talked about briefly in last night's show. We really felt like he was in a good spot. He was gonna be a good play, and I said last night that I would have him lightly sprinkled throughout a few of my lineups, and that's just what happened. And that's my bad. But I did like him going in, and this is Jimmy Butler, man, at 8.4K, 11% ownership, went out and scored 68.25 DraftKings points. That's why tonight you, Jimmy Butler, are the heat check player tonight. And the thing about this particular play was we knew that he had a kind of an underwhelming streak of games. But this is a dude that last year dropped 78 points in a game. This dude has that type of game. He has that type of ability. So we can't take that for granted when we see these guys in plus matchups, right? We cannot take that for granted anymore. No more sweatshop, right? So now we're gonna get to that one motherfucker. There's always one motherfucker who fucks up your lineup. This dude didn't fuck up a lot of lineups, but he fucked up a couple of mine because when the news broke that we weren't going to see Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio, that automatically opened up the value of a Phoenix offense that we knew someone was going to be able to benefit from Kawhi Leonard not being in the game. And automatically, a lot of us jumped on LaMarcus Aldridge. That was a good play. Went out and scored 44 DraftKings points. A lot of us jumped on Paul Gasol because we knew their usage was going to go up because of Kawhi Leonard not playing. And there were some of us who were even sharp enough to go ahead and roster TJ Warren, knowing that he wasn't going to see Kawhi Leonard's defense. But then you had motherfuckers like me, old cute motherfuckers like me, that went ahead and rostered Eric Bledsoe with your snowflake ass. Tonight, Eric, you a motherfucking snowflake. How the fuck you gonna go out at 7K? You gonna rob us for 7K? 4% ownership. Do you understand the position you was in, brother? You was in a position to totally separate 4% of us from the rest of the field. And you took that and you shitted on it and you brought us back 19.5 DraftKings points. Horrible game from you tonight. And that's why you, Mr. Eric Bledsoe, are a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass, and we ain't gonna roster your ass again until we catch you in another one of those juicy matchups. Because you know you're a decent point guard. You're a good point guard. And you can ball. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. Little snowflake ass. Let's go and get on with the rest of the show. Now, what we've got somewhat of a lengthy recap tonight, just because we did have a nice 10-game slate. There's definitely a lot to talk about. We're going to go ahead and jump right into that. But first, I'm going to show you my very best DraftKings lineup. And the reason why I do this is, of course, man, I want you to know the guys I'm talking about are the guys I'm playing. When you see me, when you type NBA DFS on YouTube and you see that all me, all us, all DFS sweatshop, I want you to know that is a line of truth. That's a bunch of truth. That ain't no bullshit. We ain't trying to steer you wrong or lead you off no place. I was telling some cats today. I'm listening to Rotoground. Let's just see what the happenings is. See what's going on. Oh yeah, man. There's no way I'm gonna play McCollum. I'm gonna play DeRozan, man, because I'm not gonna play McCollum because he doesn't do anything peripherally. That's the same shit that you could say about him. It sounds to me like you're just trying anything to get somebody off somebody, just to knock people off balance, because they know that if we're not balanced in our thinking when it comes to our lineup constructions, we're gonna be all over the place, and that's not what we want. That's not what we cultivate here in the DFS sweatshop. It's about honesty. It's about truth. It's about getting to the money and keeping it 300. Let's go ahead and check out the best DraftKings lineup that I could muster today. Did not hit the 300 club, but I got very close on a lot of lineups. If Zach Lavine balls the way I had that feeling in my gut, the way I know he will soon, it's crazy. I'm all in. But I kept lineups around 280. I was there. I was at 280 like all night. 280, 290. That's where I was everywhere. Let's go ahead and check this out. As you see, I had this lineup entered in quite a few contests. This is my very best DraftKings lineup. I'm just going to give you a look into the roster construction. Okay, now this, like most lineups, of course, started off as a core 4 lineup. We had the usual suspects in there. We had CJ McCollum. We had Brook Lopez, of course. I had at the bottom here, I believe he was in the utility. I had Zach Lavine here, and then at power forward we had Serge Ibaka. But what I wanted to do with this lineup was I wanted to go ahead and get some exposure to John Wall. So what we did was we dropped down, paid down to Al-Farouq Aminu, who I thought was going to be in a good spot without Dame Lillard. I figured the usage on all of those high volume players would go up. The salary was right on him, 4K for Al-Farouq Aminu. He scored 18.75 DraftKings points, not what we expected, but I was able to pay up for John Wall, who scored 67.25 DraftKings points. Sean Kilpatrick was always in play. He was the play that the NBA gave us. He was that injury play. When we knew we weren't going to see Jeremy Lin, it was very easy to go ahead and fit Sean Kilpatrick into our lineups. I believe at 5.4K, he went out and scored 33.75 DraftKings points. A really nice showing from him. I also liked Evan Turner. Evan Turner was at 4.2K. He scored 26 DraftKings points, did hit 6x value. That was a really nice play there. Jeremy Lamb was another play that the NBA gave us through injury. When it comes to Marco Bellinelli, we knew he was going to be out. So I figured, man, he would be the first guy off of the bench. He was actually their better sixth man last year, and he's been in that role too some this year too. So I thought he would definitely have a really good game out, but he didn't. At 3.8K, he went out and scored 19 DraftKings points. Not a snowflake, but not that. If you paying in the 3Ks for a cat in a tournament, 6X ain't good enough. You want a motherfucker that you paid 3K for to 10X. Dragon Bender. We want you to Dragon Bender. That's what we want. We don't want no bullshit. You see me? We don't want you to hit 6X at 3K. I rather the man at 9.5K hit 6X. So 6X ain't shit if you 4K or less. We need you to take it all the way up. And that didn't happen. Karl Anthony Towns got off to a very slow start in this game, and I really thought that he was in the running to be one of the snowflakes of the night, but he did finish strong, had a triple-double, and scored 51.25 DraftKings points. This lineup netted me a total of 294.75 DraftKings points. If it wasn't for how much I believed in this particular lineup, I was able to enter it in enough contests where it definitely helped me to get that buy-in back once I had put it in and didn't really do too well. So I ended up breaking just over even. I think my complete buy-in was like $48, and I got 52 back. So there it is. Now, let us go ahead and jump into a recap of last night's 10-game NBA slate. And I can't stress this to you enough, man. The reason why we do this is because we gotta know where we're coming from if we're gonna know where we're going. And I know it's very hard for a lot of you, man, with jobs and families and bills and kids to watch every NBA game. Sometimes you might just want a quick walkthrough style recap, let you know what happened during the game as much as I can. We're going to start in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, where the Indiana Pacers came to town. And this was a really good game, very competitive game. We saw some really nice play on the Indiana side. We're going to start with Paul George. He finally had that Paul George game that we were looking for. When he scored 34 points and 3 rebounds to go with 4 assists and 1 steal in 36 minutes. Now, he shot 10 for 20 from the field. That is excellent. 50% shooting. Hit every free throw, 8 for 8. Pretty nice game from him. He hit 6 of 10 from 3. So 4 of the 10 shots that he missed with 3-pointers. He was on, bro. He had a really good game. Thad Young, who a lot of folks were on, had a very decent game. 6 steals will definitely help you to make value. He had 3 assists, 6 rebounds, and 11 points. Good game from him. Myles Turner started off like a rocket. Dude had 17 points in the first quarter, and he finished with like 27 points for the game. DraftKings points, that is. Not a great game from him. He had 15 points and 8 boards to go with 3 blocks in 33 minutes. Jeff Teague was actually a really good play this game. He had 19 points and 2 boards to go with 11 assists and 1 steal. And Jeff, I owe you an apology. You snowflaked out the other night, but you definitely redeemed yourself with this game at the very similar high price point. Good game from you. CJ Miles in 25 minutes had 15 and 3 to go with 1 assist. Pretty good game from him. On the Washington Wizards side, we talked earlier about John Wall. Man, had an excellent game. We played 38 minutes, and we were all like in the sweatshop, like, please get 1 more assist, bro. This man is to get 1 more assist. We'll be so set. He had 36 points, 11 boards, and 9 assists to go with 2 steals. Great game we saw from John Wall. Otto Porter had 22 and 1 in his 32 minutes, and Bradley Beal only played 17 minutes in the game. He had an injury, but he was on track to be a really good play. And I had him in a couple of my John Wall lineups because I probably was like, in my 10 lineups, I was like 80% John Wall. I was 100%, but when the Chris Paul news broke, I shifted and pivoted a little bit, grabbed Chris Paul, and had enough from the savings from John Wall to upgrade my center to DeAndre Jordan. That worked out pretty good for me. Actually, it was a lateral move because if I'd have just left it the way it was, John Wall would have covered the difference on that anyway. We also saw a pretty good game from Marcin Gortat. In his 41 minutes, he led the team in minutes. He had 13 points, 16 boards, and 4 assists to go with 1 steal. Now, the problem has been with Marcin Gortat lately was we could not get him to a double-double. He would get 11 boards and have 3 points. He had just not been scoring the ball. But when Beal got taken off of the floor and somebody needed to pick up the scoring load, Marcin Gortat was right there. He had a very good game. Every assist that he had almost came from John Wall. Every point that he scored came off a John Wall assist. That was a very good game from the two of them. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Orlando Magic at home against the Charlotte Hornets. This game was a blowout. They blew the doors off of them, and I really thought I was going to see a lot more from Jeremy Lamb, as he was the best player on the floor when it came to all the scrub love that went on later in the game, but that was not the case. MKG in his 29 minutes had 12 and 6 to go with 4 assists and 2 steals. And watch out, man. Roster this dude while he's still 5K or under, man. Please. This dude, he's balling right now. Cody Zeller had 10 and 5 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. A pretty good game we saw from Nicholas Batum, 20 and 9 to go with 8 assists and a steal. He was definitely on the triple-double watch. And Kemba Walker, in his 24 minutes, had 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. It was hard to not even consider making him a snowflake because they just blew him out and he didn't need to play a lot. And that's just what happened. I mean, they didn't play bad. They just blew him out. Jeremy Lamb had 14 and 4, a pretty good game from him. Ramon Sessions off of the bench had 13 and 3 with 1 steal, 2 steals, and 1 assist. On the Orlando side, Serge Ibaka in his 29 minutes had 20 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists with 3 blocks. Pretty good game from him. We saw Nikolai Vucevic for 26 minutes. He had 21 and 6 to go with 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Pretty nice game from him. Not much else we saw. We know Jody Meeks jumped in as a value play once we got the news that Evan Fournier was going to be out. And in 22 minutes, he did score 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 2 steals. The next game we're going to talk about is my New York Knicks traveling to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Hawks. Carmelo, man, he played 14 minutes, got off to a hot start, had 10 and 5 to go with an assist, but he did get ejected. We saw a decent game from Kristaps Porzingis. He had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 3 blocks in 41 minutes. Now, you would have thought that, oh, Melo was out? Porzingis? But no, man, it was Melo was out. D-Rose went ham. He had 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists in 42 minutes. He led the team in minutes. The glass man led a team in minutes. Awesome day for him. Jason Holiday had 14 and 3 rebounds with 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty nice game from him. And we also saw Sasha Vujacic start the game for Courtney Lee. He only had 2 points and 5 rebounds with 1 assist and 1 steal. And he did play 27 minutes. Not a great game from him at all. On the Atlanta side, monster game we saw from Dwight Howard. In 39 minutes, he grabbed 22 boards, had 16 points. There were 1 steal and 1 block. Very nice game from him. We saw a decent game from Dennis Schroeder, man. He had 27 points and 5 assists to go with 2 steals. He didn't do anything in the way of rebounding or blocks, but that was a really nice game we saw from Dennis Schroeder for 40 minutes. Kyle Korver had 25 minutes and 13 points to go with 5 assists and 1 rebound. Pretty nice game from him. Thabo Sefolosha, the culprit who really got Melo kicked by fucking with him. In 30 minutes, he had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals. There's another player that I will not mention because he is dead to me. He had 11 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists. Not a good game from his dead ass. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Detroit Pistons at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I got to tell you, man, when it comes to the Detroit side of the ball, there's a play that cats in the sweatshop were on. They were on this guy. And they were trying to put me on him too. But I just didn't buy it. Well, let me take it. This dude went the fuck off, man. We're talking about off of the bench, Tobias Harris. In 31 minutes, he had 23 points, 12 boards, and 2 assists. And the dynamic here is that this is a starter. This is the guy that can start on a myriad of NBA teams. This dude's a starter. Well, he's coming off of the bench. It's very similar to what's going on in Orlando with Vucevic, and if you want to throw him in there, Elfrid Payton. This dude is a starter, and he deserves starters minutes. He's still getting it, but he's playing against the opposing team's second team. So he's showing out. It's like him. It's like a varsity guy playing against a JV guy. Not that extreme, but I mean, it's like playing to a lower level of competition. And you could definitely see it tonight when he was on the floor. He had a really good game, Tobias Harris, in 31 minutes. Andre Drummond had a snowflake night, 16 points to go with 9 rebounds and 1 steal. So we had a night where Andre Drummond didn't get 10 boards. Wow, that's a bad night. Markieff Morris in his 23 minutes had 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. And John Lure had 9 and 7 to go with 4 assists in 28 minutes. Not a good game we saw from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He did have 7 assists and 1 steal to go with 2 rebounds and 6 points. Not a good game at all from him. On the Milwaukee side of the ball, we talked about the how did I miss that play tonight. Jabari Parker, in 34 minutes, he damn near had a triple-double. He had 31 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. Excellent game from him. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 45 DraftKings points in 34 minutes. He had 23 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Not what you were expecting for that 10K salary. Matthew Dellavedova in his 19 minutes had 11 and 2 to go with 2 assists. But probably the play of this game, aside from, of course, the how did I miss that play, was off of the bench, man. It was Greg Monroe. He had 14 and 5 to go with 6 assists and 2 steals and a block in 26 minutes. Excellent game we saw from him. Tony Snell just throw him in there. He had 6 rebounds, 11 points to go with an assist. And on the next game we're going to talk about, it's going to be probably the most entertaining game of the night. This is a game that had a lot of suspense, a lot of drama, a lot of action. Right close towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter, we thought that we had seen the end of Jimmy Butler's night. He goes up to shoot the jumper, knocks it down, and falls like funnily in a funny way on his ankle. At first he touched his knee and then grabbed his ankle. So I was like, oh shit, is it knee and ankle? Or is it just an ankle? Or is it a knee? What's going on? Well, he was down while the rest of the team, the Brooklyn team, they went down, they scored the ball, whatever. He was still on the ground. Had Rajon Rondo bringing the ball up on the next play, and he was like staying down. Well, they called a timeout. 2 guys carry him, they hobble him off the court, and I'm like, damn, I got Jimmy Butler in a couple spots. This motherfucker's done. And at this point, he got like 53 points. I'm like, well, that's good. I mean, 53 points, you can't argue with that for 8.4K. Well, so I'm looking again, and 2 minutes go by in the game. Dude's back at the score table, back in the game. They're down 3. Brolo dunks on his brother like he doesn't give a fuck about him, like he's adopted or something. And it's just this awesome game. Jimmy Butler comes down with 11 seconds left. I'm like, fuck yeah, I got Brolo in the core 4. I got Kilpatrick. I got Butler, all of them in the same lineup. This shit's going overtime, baby. No. Jimmy knocks down the game-winning shot to win the game. Excellent game we saw from Jimmy Butler, and that's why he was tonight's Heat Check Player of the Night. He went out in 38 minutes, had 40 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists to go with 4 steals. Shout out to you, Jimmy Butler. Great game we saw. Taj Gibson in 29 minutes had 8 and 3 to go with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Saw a nice game from Rajon Rondo, even though he only scored 5 points. He had 9 rebounds, 12 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game from him. Dwayne Wade snowflaked out in 22 minutes, had 16 and 4 to go with 1 assist and 1 block. And Robin Lopez, aside from getting dominated by his brother and straight sunned on a last play of the game, getting dunked on like that, he had 12 points and 5 rebounds to go with 1 assist and 2 blocks. On the Brooklyn side of the ball, we saw a really nice game from Brook Lopez. 33 and 3 rebounds to go with 4 assists. You got to do some more rebounding than that, though, bro. Sean Kilpatrick had a nice game in 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists to go with 1 steal. 34 minutes for him. Pretty good game. Randy Foye chipped in 11 and 5 rebounds to go with 1 assist and 1 steal in his 28 minutes. And Trevor Booker, he grabbed 14 boards, but he only has 6 points, 2 assists, and 1 block. Not a great game from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans beating the LA Clippers. That's the only thing that saved Anthony Davis from being tonight's snowflake. Because I don't just like, oh, you fucked up my lineup. You a snowflake. But I go back and I look at shit. And if you win, it's kind of hard to make you a snowflake. You got to do some funky shit in a win in order to be the snowflake of the night. So that's why I couldn't give it to Anthony Davis, even though he stuck up a lot of people and robbed their ass 11.4K, even though you should have had the better knowledge to not roster. Once you knew that Chris Paul was going to be playing and DeAndre Jordan was going to be playing, I was totally off of anybody on the Pelican side as soon as that news broke, and you know better than that too. So we're going to start on the Lakers side, where DeAndre Jordan grabbed 25 boards, a season high, 13 points, and had 2 blocks with 1 assist. Chris Paul had 21 and 8 to go with 6 assists and 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. We saw a decent game from the coach's son. Had 22 and 4 to go with 2 steals. Pretty nice game from him. And we also saw Mo Buckets chip in 11 points to go with 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks on the New Orleans Pelicans side. Anthony Davis did drop a dub. He had 20 points, but he only had 5 boards, 1 assist, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Not a great game from him at all. we saw 17 and 6 to go with 2 steals from Buddy Hield. And Drew Holiday had 11 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in his 34 minutes. Pretty nice game from him. Terrence Jones had 10 and 5 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. And we saw Langston Galloway get to the action in 30 minutes, having 12 points to go with 4 rebounds and 1 steal and 1 block. And another side note, Tyreke Evans, man, this dude only played 16 minutes, but he had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Tyreke Evans is a really good player. He's a really good player. And we're going to see some more of him as they're working him into the rotation. The next game we're going to get into is the San Antonio Spurs at home against the Phoenix Suns. We're going to start on the Phoenix Suns side, where the snowflake of the night lived, Eric Bledsoe. In 26 minutes, he had 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. So with all of that, if he finished with 19 fantasy points, he had quite a few turnovers. Not a great game from him. We saw a pretty decent game from T.J. Warren. He had 23 and 6 to go with 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And just start the fucking man, bro. Just start him. He played 34 minutes. Just start the man. Get it over with. Let's go into the San Antonio side. I saw a pretty good game from LaMarcus Aldridge, man. He dropped 44 DraftKings points. He had 27 real-life points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. That was an excellent game from him. We got a double-double from Paul Gasol with 10 rebounds and 16 points to go with 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. And Tony Parker had 20 points to go with 1 rebound, 3 assists. Pretty good game from him. Manu Ginobili jumped off of the bench in his 19 minutes and had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. A full stat line we saw from Manu Ginobili. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Denver Nuggets at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This was a very good game too, and it would have been more exciting, more fun if we saw, Karl Anthony Towns play as well as he did in the second half, in the first half. But the first half was all Jokic, man. This dude had an excellent game. Really nice game we saw from Nikola Jokic. But we're going to start on the Minnesota side, where Andrew Wiggins played 36 minutes and he dropped 25 points, had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Gorgui Dieng had 20 points to go with 8 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we saw a triple-double from Karl Anthony Towns, most of it taking place in the second half. He played 40 minutes to go. He played 34 minutes. He had 15 points, 11 boards, and 10 assists. Pretty nice game from him. Also 2 blocks. Zach Lavine, somebody who I really needed the ball out, did not really. He played 40 minutes, led the team in minutes. That's another reason why I was on him, because he is on the court longer than everybody else. Like Nicholas Batum, go back and look. Watch the games. See, if you watch games, you know. I'm gonna make a sheet of who is the last starter to be taken off of the court. Every team, every starting 5, somebody is the last guy to be taken off of the court. And it's usually Zach Lavine. In Charlotte, it's Nick Batum. This comes from watching games. You watch enough games, you'll see damn, man, this dude, it's almost a minute left in the first quarter. He's still in the game. Because there's a few guys that are like that. And I'm going to make a list for everybody in the DFS sweatshop, the VIP. I'm going to make a list for y'all of who that is. If I got a stats guy, go find out somebody and post it in the VIP for me. All right, Rick Rubio, nice game from him. 45 DraftKings points. He played 33 minutes, had 18 points to go with 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals. Damn near a triple-double for him. That was a very good game we saw from Rick Rubio. And Zach Lavine, 17 and 1 to go with 5 assists and 1 steal. Not a great game at all. But he did not snowflake out, so it was okay. Danilo Gallinari on the other side of the ball played 35 minutes, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Pretty good game from him. Nice game we saw from Nikola Jokic. He damn near had another triple-double too. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists to go with 1 block. This is the most almost triple-double in this motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. This dude has 4 almost triple-doubles. Go ahead and get it, dog. Go ahead and get it. Make sure I got you when you do. Gary Harris had a nice game, 17 and 4 to go with 1 assist for him. Now, I could have rostered Gary Harris much cheaper than I rostered Zach Lavine and got the very same production. Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy like that. The NBA is like that. Kenneth Faried in 15 minutes had 6 and 5 to go with 2 assists. Pretty poor performance we saw from Kenneth Faried. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Portland Trail Blazers at home against the Sacramento Kings. I didn't think this game was going to blow out until the Rudy Gay news came out. Once the Rudy Gay news dropped, I was very unsure about a lot in this game. All I knew was that I was gonna fuck with CJ McCollum. That was like the main thing, because I knew he was probably gonna be the highest owned guy on the slate, and I wanted to get my piece too, because I just didn't want to get left behind. I didn't want to be part of the 60% of motherfuckers who did not have CJ McCollum. And let's go ahead and check it out. On the Sacramento side, we saw a nice game from Matt Barnes at his price point. He got a tick in every area of the stat sheet: 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. So a really nice game from him. Boogie Cousins, man, kind of underwhelmed in his 35 minutes. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And Costa Koufos was the only other player of note. He had 10 boards and a block to go with 6 points. You can't forget about Garrett Temple, I guess. 14 and 3 to go with 1 assist and 2 steals for him. On the Portland side, a couple guys had decent games. Mason Plumlee, man, continued his streak of really nice games. He had 12 points to go with 14 boards, 2 assists. A good game from him. Mo Harkless had 12 and 4 to go with an assist and a steal in his 33 minutes. And of course, we talked about Evan Turner. He had 11 and 6 to go with 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. But I think probably the best play of this entire game was Myers Leonard. 24 minutes for him. He had 16 and 5 to go with 1 assist and 1 block at damn near minimum salary. Next game I'm going to be getting into is the last game on the slate. Is the Golden State Warriors at home against the Toronto Raptors. We talked about this game last night. We knew it was not going to be this big blowout. We thought that they could stay close. We knew that if there's anywhere you could really attack this Golden State defense, it is along the perimeter. That was the Toronto Raptors' strength, as they have DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. My advice to you was to go ahead and fire them both up, and they damn sure came through if you did. Nice game we saw from both of those gentlemen. We're going to start with Kyle Lowry. He played 40 minutes, and in those 40 minutes, he had 27 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, and 2 steals. Very nice game from him. DeMar DeRozan dropped 29 points and had 6 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, and 5 rebounds. Pretty good game there. We also saw a nice game from DeMarre Carroll for a change. 13 and 7 to go with 1 assist, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Pretty decent game from him. You could have stacked the fuck out of this. But the play in this game, the sneaky play in this game, was a guy who had been questionable. He had been marked questionable all game long. I doubt that the news came out that he was going to be playing until after lineups locked at 7. And that's Terrence Ross. In 33 minutes, he had 24 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Good game from him. On the Golden State side, a lot of good games here. Klay Thompson, 21 points. He had 21 DraftKings points in the first quarter. 21 real-life points on the game. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks. Nice game from him. Steph Curry flirted with a triple-double. He had 28 points, 7 boards, and 7 assists. We saw a very nice game from KD. He had 22 and 17 to go with 7 assists and 5 blocks. So he was like another block away from being on quadruple double watch. Really good game from him. Draymond Green double-doubled in his 37 minutes. He had 14 and 6 to go with 10 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Nice game we saw from him. Even Andre Iguodala in his 30 minutes had 11 and 3 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. Pretty nice game we saw on the Golden State side as they won, going away by 10 points. What we're going to do now, we're going to just skim the player pricing. We're going to roll through it really quickly, and we do this just to get an idea in our head, first glance, right now, here and now. Bam, what do you think of that guy? That's what I'm giving you. And that's usually where we make our best decisions as soon as we see something. That's what we do. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Here, we're going to be using the DraftKings scoring, but anything that I do say about a player in regards to matchups or how I feel a particular player is going to do or fare against another team or a DVP or situation, anything like that, you can also apply it to your FanDuel as well. Now tomorrow's going to be a 6-game slate. Remember, 5 games or less, we're stacking. On a 6-game slate, I will release a traditional Core 4 that will be out for you in the DFS Sweatshop website as well as in the Facebook VIP, probably from the hours of 1 to 3, depending on what I'm doing, how many heads I got in the barbershop. I'm one man. It takes a little time to do all this stuff. So we're going to jump into it. Now, what I was just saying, too, about, differences in FanDuel and DraftKings, we do have an affiliate show, and it's called Sports Swirl. Kyle and George, really cool guys. I've been on their show before. They are really, really good when it comes to breaking down FanDuel stuff. So you can definitely go over there and check those guys out. Tell them Maurice said what's up. Right now, as we can see already, Russell Westbrook is the most expensive player on tomorrow's slate, going to the grindhouse. Now, he was in a similar situation the other night, going to Miami and balled the fuck out, had a really nice game. And that was on a 4-game slate. You kind of had no choice but to roster him. In that situation, I believe everybody took him and Harden. You had to in order to really get to the cash line. I don't think that's true for tonight. And while you can take your chances with Russell Westbrook at 12.7K, so he's gonna have to score. Let's do some quick calculation on this, because this is like the X's and O's of it. This is where it all comes down. So at 12.7K, in order to hit 6x value, he has to score 76.2 DraftKings points in order to justify that roster. Against Memphis Grizzlies at the grindhouse, might see some Mike Conley, might run into the lane and see some Marc Gasol, some Jermichael Green, some Zebo. Nah, I'm not doing it. I don't like him tomorrow. Next play we got is LeBron James. Now, after that day of rest, he should be good to go. Fired him up. I like him at 10K. Hassan Whiteside against the Charlotte Hornets. You can attack Charlotte rebounding the ball. We like Whiteside tomorrow. Kyle Lowry against Phoenix is definitely in play tomorrow. DeMar DeRozan against Phoenix is definitely in play tomorrow. Kevin Love. You can see the good thing about 6-game slates, you still have a stat quality here. And if you like a couple guys on the same team, you might as well just go ahead and stack the motherfucker. That's what I'm gonna do when I really like a point total and a group of players. I'm gonna go ahead and stack them. But you don't have to. You can definitely pick the core 4 and cherry pick what you want. Kevin Love is definitely in play at 8.2. I like Gordon Hayward at 8.1 at home in that slow-paced game against the Philadelphia 76ers. I like Gordon Hayward, Marc Gasol. I don't like him very much tomorrow. I mean, he's in play. If we don't see Conley, I like Marc Gasol. If Conley plays, I don't like him as much. Not against Oklahoma City. Those bigs down there, that's a lot. That's a lot of big dudes, man, clogging that shit up. So I don't like him more. Kemba Walker at home. Even though this is against the Miami Heat, there's a rule. I like him. I like Kemba at home, especially coming off of a nice win. Didn't really play a ton of minutes in last night's games. I think he can be a decent player. I like him, and that automatically brings me to Nicholas Batum, who are also like at 7.8. Isaiah Thomas at 7.7. Normally, I would say fire Isaiah Thomas up. You can attack Kyrie Irving. You can attack the Cleveland perimeter, but I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to Isaiah Thomas tomorrow. I do like him in some spots, though. Kyrie Irving, who is questionable at 7.6, he's going to be in play for me if I'm stacking Cleveland. If not, I'm going to leave him alone. Eric Bledsoe to bounce back at home against the Toronto Raptors. I think that is in play at 7.5. I love Rudy Gobert tomorrow because we know we're not going to be seeing Joel Embiid. So Rudy Gobert is definitely in play. Here's Embiid. He is out. Goran Dragic is questionable. If he does play, I don't like him tomorrow if he does play at 7K. Harrison Barnes at 6.8. He is in play tomorrow against the LA Lakers at LA. Al Horford at 6.7 is a no for me. Julius Randle is definitely in play. Mike Conley, if he plays, I kind of like him tomorrow. Devin Booker at 6.3 is a no for me. Even though there's a 13th ranked DVP, Toronto, DeMar Carroll, going to see maybe a little DeMar DeRozan defense. I just don't like him tomorrow. I don't like him. George Hill, he may be on track to play soon. We're going to have to check on that and make sure we know what's up with that. Avery Bradley is in play at 6.1 for me. I like Darren Williams to bounce back against LA Lakers at 5.9. Wesley Matthews is also can be a part of that stack at 5.7. You've got Justice Winslow, who it's time to get off Justice Winslow. I've been trying, and it worked one game. He dropped like 50 one game, and I think that we've seen the best that we're going to see from him right now. So I'm gonna peel back off of Justice Winslow because I've also got Luol Deng, who's been playing lights out at a very similar price point, as well as Tyler Johnson. I like these two more than I like Justice Winslow. Vic Oladipo, I think he's definitely going to be out. Jonas Valanciunas is in play at 5.3K. We know Embiid is not going to be playing, so Valanciunas is in play. We know that you can attack Phoenix rebounding the ball and on the low block. The two bigs that they have are not very mobile. One is a decent rebounder, the other not so much. But we can use Valanciunas tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. D'Angelo Russell is a no for me against the Dallas Mavericks, 5.3K. Zebo is definitely in play against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like him to kind of, slow down Cantor on that second team a little bit. I like him tomorrow. Jay Crowder at 5.2 is not a player that I really like. Sweet Lou Williams. I don't like Lou Williams. 5.2K, you can have him. James Johnson is definitely in play at 5.1 against the Charlotte Hornets. Cantor is a no for me. Josh Richardson, he is in play. Dion Waiters is out. Tony Allen is in play for me at 5K. I like Tony Allen tomorrow. Even though it's a fifth-ranked DVP, I do like Tony Allen tomorrow. I think Steven Adams can also be a good play at 5K flat. Cody Zeller is someone who I like because we can definitely score against Hassan Whiteside. 4.9K, that's not a bad price for him. Rodney Hood, he's got to show me that he's completely healthy. I didn't like what I saw the other night. No Rodney Hood for me. Ersan Ilyasova, even though it's a 10th ranked DVP, he's in play for me. I kind of like him tomorrow. TJ Warren is definitely in play. MKG is a no for me at 4.8. Andrew Harrison, if we don't see Mike Conley the way we did last time, I like Andrew Harrison against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sergio Rodriguez is not in play for me at 4.8. Robert Covington. The only reason why I kind of like Robert Covington tomorrow is because he is the best on-ball defender the Philadelphia 76ers have. So he is going to see a ton of usage when it comes to defensive usage, when it comes to guarding Gordon Hayward, when it comes to guarding Joe Ingles, Joe Johnson in some spots. We're going to see a nice amount of Robert Covington. And if you catch him on a night where he's playing well defensively and the jump shot is going down, he has 40-point upside. So I kind of like, no, I ain't gonna backpedal. I like Robert Covington tomorrow. Tristan Thompson is in play. We can attack Boston rebounding. I'm gonna have a stack. It's gonna have LeBron, Kyrie, Tristan Thompson, and Kyrie Irving if he's playing, and Kevin Love if he's playing. I'm gonna have that. You can definitely attack Boston rebounding. We know that at 4.7K, Tristan Thompson can definitely do that for you. Jermichael Green at 4.6. The green light is there, but I don't like him tomorrow. Jahlil Okafor is not in play for me at 4.6. He's gonna be playing some power forward in the center, going up against Rudy Gobert. Nah, I'm good. Jordan Clarkson at 4.6 is a guy that we can look at. I would rather take him tomorrow in that matchup before I took Sweet Lou Williams, just because he can also do other things. He can rebound, he can play pretty good defense, and he tries hard when he doesn't have the ball in his hand, unlike Lou Williams. Marcus Smart is in play at 4.5, I'd say so. Tyson Chandler against the Toronto Raptors. Even though the DVP is 27 and is green, I just don't like him more. I'd rather have Valanciunas. 4.5 was a salary on him. Marvin Williams is not in play for me at 4.4. Shelvin Mack is definitely in play at 4.4. Norman Powell is a no for me. Dirk Nowitzki is a no for me at 4.3. He's still got that minutes limit. Brandon Knight is definitely in play at 4.2. He's a streaky player, and usually he puts together a couple good games back to back. He had a nice game out last time. I like Brandon Knight at 4.2K going up against the Toronto Raptors second team. Joe Ingles is not in play for me at 4.1. He's going to be seeing Robert Covington defense. I don't worry about Hayward against Robert Covington, but if he sees Robert Covington in some spots, I don't like him. Or Ersan Ilyasova is going to be on the floor as well too. Swaggy P is in play at 4.1. If you want somebody if you think he's gonna knock down a lot of shots, you're gonna look into the point totals because Dallas is one of the slowest paced teams in the league. We want to be wary of that. Even though the pace is most of the time dictated by the best player on the floor. Do not forget that Seth Curry, little bruh, is in play at 4.1. I would say that. Amir Johnson is a no for me. Damari Carroll is in play for me at 4K. He's going to see a lot of defensive usage, especially when he matches up against TJ Warren, who I like too. Pat at 4K. He's in play for me as a deep, stack option play. I like him. Derek Favors, the price is up to 3.9. We need to make sure that we need to check out what his minutes is going to be. If we can see if at him at 3.9, if I get 22 minutes, if I get 25 minutes of Derek Favors for 3.9, you can count me in for that. Ramon Sessions at 3.8 looks like a play I don't want to deal with. Jeremy Lamb at 3.8 is in play for me if, again, we don't see Marco Bellinelli. Dario Saric is a no. Rashawn Holmes is a no for me. PJ Tucker is a no. Lucas Nogueira could be in play at 3.8. Frank Kaminsky is a no. Iman Shumpert, only in the deepest of the Cleveland stacks will I ever roster Iman Shumpert. Tomorrow will not be one of those times. A report came out and said that we were going to see some increased minutes for Nerlens Noel. Now, since we know we've got Joel Embiid out, I would recommend to maybe throw him in a lineup or two. 3.7K, what you got to lose? The dude go out and block 4 shots and score 4 points and grab 6 boards. He's already made value. 25 DraftKings points, you're good for 3.7K. Why not? Larry Nance continues to be out here. Dwight Powell at 3.7 is not somebody who I would like to play. Marco Bellinelli, no. Willie Reed could be in play at 3.6 in a deep Miami stack. James Ennis is a no for me, but he is a starter. You got to keep that in mind. Terrence Ross, 3.6 in a deep Toronto stack is definitely in play for me. Alex Len at 3.6 in a deep Phoenix stack is in play for me. Andrew Bogut, he's starting 3.6. There's nothing on the injury side here. He is in play. Andre Roberson is a no for me. Channing Frye, deep Cleveland stack, he's in play. Wayne Ellington is a no. Chandler Parsons is still on that minutes restriction. Kelly Olynyk, 3.4 is a no for me. Trey Lyles, Corey Joseph, Dragon Bender. Somebody's going to have him just because he played so well the other night. Somebody had him tonight and he still scored 20-some-odd points. 3.4K, why not take a shot on Dragon Bender? This game could blow out against Phoenix. Jeremy Grant, 3.3 is a no. TJ McConnell. Now, if we don't see, I don't think we're going to be seeing Gerald Henderson. He's somebody who I like the roster. When I get back into a corner and I just need some relief at a shooting guard position, I will jump all over Gerald Green because most of the time he just gets you that 6'6" value. So he's probably going to be out tomorrow. We can maybe look at TJ McConnell. There's going to be some other scoring options. Sauce is somebody we can look at. Nick Stauskas. Brandon Ingram at 3.3 is very intriguing against the Dallas Mavericks. Let's say that they're blowing them out. We're still going to see a nice amount of run from Brandon Ingram. Alex Abrines at 3.2. He's not a player that I really like very much. Of course, we talked about Gerald Henderson. He's out. Finney Smith's going to be starting, so he's in play just because he's a starter on a short slate. So we've got some really nice plays, man. It's a pretty good 6-game slate. We've got some really good defensive teams on there too. So hopefully the scores won't be so crazy as they were tonight, where you needed. One of the sweatshoppers told me you needed 290 to get to the money in the double ups tonight. That's pretty rough. So let's go ahead and jump into a quick point total preview of these 6 games, starting in my favorite place to go close to here and watch some basketball. It is the Miami Heat traveling to Charlotte to take on the Hornets. This is the second lowest point total on the slate. But let me appeal to you, because that is going to push people off of this game. The fact that Miami is a kind of a slow-paced team, the point total is pretty low. It's a 6-point differential, which isn't that huge, but it's kind of right in the middle for all of the games we have on the slate. There are games that are slated to be a little closer. This is the third lowest point total, right, at 199 points. What I can tell you is something that I always implore you to. I always tell you this. The Charlotte Hornets are the teamiest team in the league. I just created a word. They're a teamy-ass team. Like, nobody is bigger than the totality of the team. Like, they are so teamy. They love to play together with each other. And they play in the South. They play in North Carolina. They play in Charlotte. And the people in Charlotte are very similar. Very, hey, how you doing? Very nice people, Southern people. And it's like a family vibe. When you go into the Beehive, I promise you, you make it feel like you're going to visit someone's living room. And that's why these guys play so much better at home. Most notably, Kemba Walker. There's a level of comfort at the Beehive that these guys have that is unmatched in any arena that I've ever been to. And that's why whenever they are home, I've got to give them a really, really good, honest look. Because they can beat just about any team in the league at the crib on any given night. So I definitely like a couple players in this game. I like Kemba Walker tomorrow. I do. I think that DVP is going to scare a lot of people off him, but he's at home. He's going to be going up against maybe he might go up against the point guard that is hurt right now, Goran Dragic. I'm sorry, my mind is bad. It's really late. So I like him tomorrow. I like Nick Batum, of course. I think that you can really see some solid minutes off of the bench for Jeremy Lamb. And I also like Cody Zeller to attack the basket against Hassan Whiteside. A couple shots are going to get blocked, but this is a scrappy, barroom brawling, like, white dude. This is like, you know what I mean? This is my dude, Cody Zeller. He's like a scrappy guy. You can knock him down. He's going to get back up and be like, what? And that's what's going to happen tomorrow. He's going to get a shot blocked a couple times. We're going to keep on coming because that's what this guy does. And they're going to keep on with the high pick and roll, the mid pick and roll. That's the play they're going to be running. And if that don't work, then you're going to see Nick Batum shooting long distance jump shot. I like Charlotte tomorrow in this game. I would bet the over. I think Charlotte is going to kind of smash on Miami, and there's not too much on the Miami side that I do like. I think we're going to see a lot of Hassan Whiteside to keep pace with them, which will slow the game down some. But I do like him. I like Josh Johnson to shoot threes on the Miami side. I think we can definitely look to Tyler Johnson and Goran Dragic if you like that. But this game is going to have a lot more than people see when they look at the point total and the DVPs when it comes to the specific players. The next game we're going to get into is probably going to be the most heavily populated game on the slate. Cleveland Cavaliers at home against the Boston Celtics. The spread on this is not very big. It's only a 6-point point differential with a 215-point total. Cleveland being the favorite. Charlotte was the home favorite on the last game. Cleveland is the home favorite. Well, I like this game. I do. And I think a lot of other people are going to like this game. So that's going to make me temper my my usage when it comes to it. There's a few plays that just pop out. People that there's no fucking brainers. Like, you got to love LeBron tomorrow at home against Boston. Come on. You got to love him. Kevin Love. We attack Boston rebounding. That's what we do in the sweatshop. That's law. Kevin Love all day. If you want to do it cheaper, Tristan Thompson. So we don't have to go down. We don't have to go to every area in like a Cleveland stack. But, I mean, it's definitely possible. But we don't have to roster Kyrie Irving if we don't want to. If we see a better point guard option somewhere else, we can definitely take advantage of that, even though Kyrie has been lighting it the fuck up lately. His last game out wasn't that good, but the few games before that, he really did the damn thing. So we can look at him as well. We can go with an all Cleveland stack. We can definitely do that in this game. All the way down to Tristan Thompson. On the Boston side, Kyrie Irving does not play very good defense, so that automatically puts IT2 in play. He didn't have a really great game out. Maybe everybody's not going to be as on him. And I take that back because on a 6-game slate, everybody's going to be on everybody. It's just how we put them together that's going to make the difference. So I do like IT2 tomorrow. I think we can also look to Al Horford lightly. Because Al Horford can shoot. And he's very active around the elbow, not just in the low post. And if he gets Tristan Thompson out on the elbow, he's going to run by him and go to the basket. So I think we can look to Al Horford some tomorrow. Those would be the only plays that I really would roster with enough confidence to do so effectively. Would be IT2 as well as Al Horford, with giving some consideration to Kelly Olynyk and maybe Jerebko in a blowout. The next game we're getting to is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. They're going to be at home against the Grindhouse against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is pretty juicy because it is a low point total. This is the second lowest point total on the slate. It's 198.5 DraftKings points, with Memphis giving up 2 to Oklahoma City. Now listen. So what this is saying is the score is going to be 98-99, something like that, right? Right? So do you think that we're going to see 99 points from Oklahoma City Thunder with Russell Westbrook dropping 30 points, getting 11 assists, and 12 rebounds, which is what we're going to need to see to get that 76 points. No, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. You can go ahead, I'm not. Now, I will have some exposure to some other cats on the team if I like them on some cheap shit. Like, I think because I'm not rostering Russell Westbrook tomorrow, I can look to Enes Kanter. I can look to Steven Adams, because if he's gonna rack those assists and have a good game, then definitely those guys are going to be the beneficiaries of it. So I definitely think we can go that route. On the Memphis side, if Mike Conley plays, we can attack Oklahoma City's perimeter, especially when it comes to Russell Westbrook. He does not. I mean, he tries very hard on defense. He's just not a great defender. He's always looking to, like, oh, how do I get open? How do I, turn this defensive play into a fast break play offensively for me or for us? He goes to the rebound. He doesn't defend on the ball as well. And that's why I think Mike Conley could be a decent play. If Mike Conley plays, that definitely makes me take a look closely at Marc Gasol. Can Conley set Gasol up? Do they have that rapport? I know that they're developing it, but I'm not too sure that I can trust the fact that Conley being there will help Marc Gasol, especially within the last few games where we've seen Mike Conley's absence has helped Marc Gasol. So I like Marc Gasol less if Mike Conley plays. If Mike Conley is out and we get Andrew Harrison, I like both of them. I like Andrew Harrison and I like Marc Gasol. Let's move on to the next game. Also, forgot honorable mention goes to Zebo, Zach Randolph, definitely, as well as Jermichael Green too. The next game we're going to talk about is the Toronto Raptors going to Phoenix, taking on the Suns. This is the highest point total on the slate tomorrow. So just that alone is going to have a lot of folks invested in this game with good reason, as the Toronto Raptors are an 8.5 point favorite. They are road favorites, so Phoenix are home dogs. Whenever I get home dogs, that gives them an extra bump to me. They're going to have that home crowd behind them. So I kind of do like a lot of players on the Phoenix side. Now that we take a more close look at it, I think we can look at TJ Warren, one. Going up against DeMar Carroll, I like TJ Warren. I think Bledsoe definitely deserves some consideration in this game, as well as Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight, I like him more than I like Bledsoe because of the price and the fact he's going to be seeing the Toronto second team, which Corey Joseph is not really that great at defense. So I think we can definitely look to Brandon Knight tomorrow. As far as bigs go, I wouldn't touch the bigs too tough on the Phoenix side. The only ones I probably would go Alex Len. Going up against Lucas Negrete and that second team of Toronto Raptors, I think he can have a decent showing. On the Toronto side, you can fire up Lowry and DeRozan. Again, you can do it. Now, they are on the back-to-back, so we're gonna see what happens with Jonas Valanciunas. Sometimes they like to rest him on back-to-backs. If he's playing, I think he is in play. Terrence Ross, he was questionable coming into last night, but he seemed to be fine to me. Motherfucker went out there and dropped 30 points. He should be good. So we got a lot to like in this Toronto-Phoenix game. The next game I'm going to get into is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers going to Utah, taking on the Jazz. This game has two things wrong with it. Number one, it has the lowest point total on the slate. Number two, it has the biggest point differential on the slate. So that tells me if I am rostering guys comfortably, the only side I can really do that from is from the Utah side. That's what it's saying. So we check on the minutes limits for Derek Favors. If we get 20 minutes of Derek Favors, I like him in this game. Rudy Gobert is also in play, as well as Gordon Hayward. Now, the thing to remember is whenever we see the Philadelphia 76ers play without Joel Embiid, that makes them a shitty team. It makes them a very bad team. So we have to roster these guys with caution. The fact that we're not going to see Gerald Green means that we're going to get more minutes in the backcourt spread around. I think it's like Sergio Rodriguez is a no for me. But if you want to take a shot on Stauskas or maybe Hollis Thompson or even TJ McConnell, if you want to take a shot on one of those guys for the cheap, hoping that you get some scrub love out of them, I don't have a problem with that. That also puts in play Shelvin Mack too, because we know that the Utah Jazz are kind of thin at the point guard position. We have not seen, nor will we see, Dante Exum tomorrow, and he was like the secondary ball handler on the team. So after George Hill, which we also need to make sure we don't see George Hill. I don't think George Hill is going to be playing either. So we can roster a lot of guys on the Utah side. On the Philadelphia side, there's not too much to like, man. I think I might like Ersan Ilyasova. We talked about the point guard situation in Philadelphia. This could be an ugly game. So let's go ahead and check out the last game on the slate. This is a really nice game, I think. It is the Dallas Mavericks going to LA to take on the Lakers. This is the late night hammer game. Make sure on a 6-game slate you got you a hammer. Make sure you got you a late night hammer. Julius Randle stands out to me in this game. I like him a lot. Also, I think Timothy Mozgov can be a good player, a nice cheap pump play at the center position. We can look to Luol Deng as well because he's going to see a lot of usage because the Dallas Mavericks' best player right now is a small forward who also plays stretch 4. It is Harrison Barnes. Now, when Harrison Barnes on the floor, we're going to see a lot of Luol Deng. He is their team's best on-ball defender, so he's going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to see 30+ minutes again. I see that for him. So I do like Luol Deng, which I do like Harrison Barnes a lot too. I think he's going to be a decent player in this game. We can see a nice little battle between those two guys. We've got to look at Darren Williams. He's going to be a nice play. We can always attack LA on the perimeter at the point guard position, so I think that's going to be a nice play there. Wesley Matthews, if his shot is popping, he is a good play. So we can definitely look toward Wesley Matthews some as well. As far as the Dallas Bigs go, no, don't fuck with it. You might be able to go Bogut, but I won't hate you if you do, but I won't love it if you do either. So this has been your DFS Jerusalem. We went ahead and had a really nice show, really nice night tonight. There's a bunch of good games on. It was a fun time. We're going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to be back here, same spot, in the sweatshop, doing it again for you. If you would like to further support the show, first and foremost, we went ahead and we printed up the black hoodies and the black t-shirts. And as soon as we did, man, people just started patronizing. So I am so grateful and I'm indebted to you all for the support you've been giving me in everything I've been trying to do concerning the sweatshop. Website, you jumped on it. The YouTube, you jumped on it. Twitter, you jumped on it. Facebook, you jumped on it. T-shirts, you jumping on it. This shit is awesome, bro. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting. And it is not going unnoticed, man. I'm telling you, you all are helping to take care of a family. And I really appreciate you for that. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. If you'd like to further support the show, you can do that by clicking that little button over there. It says support the show. Click that. Let it take you where it got to take you so you can support the show. Comment. Mix it up in the bottom of the comments. If you don't like a play that I'm talking about, challenge me. We can talk about it in the comments. I have no problem with that. Hit me up on Twitter. But most importantly, though, keep on viewing, man. Keep on viewing on the YouTube because this is where it all started for me at. And if you want to become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop, go ahead and visit the website. It's www.dfssweatshop.com. There you'll see our rankings, our DVPs, our spreadsheets, our core 4 plays. You'll actually see the tutorials where I show you how to build your rosters using our core 4 proven roster building system. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Thank you. And the one thing we always want to do when we're in the sweatshop is keep it 300.